Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Larry Scully and Levi Axtell? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Lawrence Vincent Scully was born in December 1945 and was raised in a suburb of Minneapolis. He went by the name Larry and lived with his parents and 7 younger siblings. In 1975, his parents moved to Grande, Minnesota, which is a town of 1,300 people on the north shore of Lake Superior. Larry stayed near Minneapolis. He married, had 3 sons, and divorced. After that, he married a woman named Sheila, who had 2 children, a boy and a girl. The family of 7 lived in Ramsey, Minnesota. On February 28, 1979, Ash Wednesday, Larry's wife Sheila went to evening mass and then bowling. While she was gone, Larry committed a horrible offense against Sheila's 6-year-old daughter. The daughter told Sheila, who in turn contacted the police. Larry was arrested and eventually pleaded guilty. Clinicians said Larry was not interested in receiving mental health treatment. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison, but was released on January 19, 1982. By this point, Larry's sons were living with their mother, and Sheila had divorced him. There was no registry at that time for the type of offense that Larry had committed, so he was able to fly under the radar and start over. He hitchhiked to the town of Grande and lived with his parents in their small 2-bedroom house at 1109 East 5th Street. Larry's father died in 1997, and his mother died in 2013. Larry continued to live in the house. He attempted to make money with various endeavors like selling Antler bone art, leather lingerie, and solar power generators. He never had a traditional or steady career. In 2014, Larry tried to change this by running for the mayor of Grande. Up until this point, he had managed to hide his criminal record, but after running for mayor, the media released articles about his 1979 conviction. Larry explained his criminal history by accusing his ex-wife Sheila of coercing his stepdaughter to lie to the authorities. He claimed that he only pleaded guilty to avoid going to prison for a long time. Not surprisingly, Larry was defeated in the election. Around the town of Grande, unfounded rumors about Larry started making the rounds. People said things like he video recorded girls playing volleyball and gave candy to children. Larry was ostracized by the community, even though he had never been the target of any criminal accusation since his conviction. One particular person became obsessed with Larry. His name was Levi Axtell. Levi was born sometime around 1996 and grew up in Hovland, Minnesota, which is about 20 miles east of Grande. Both his parents worked in Grande. His father was a physical therapist, and his mother was a nurse. Levi had 2 older sisters. Starting when he was a teenager, Levi became unwilling or unable to regulate his intake of alcohol. He went to Cook County High School, but after alcohol was discovered in his locker, he transferred to Duluth East High School. On May 29, 2014, Levi wrestled with a school resource officer and was charged with disorderly conduct and obstructing the legal process with force. He pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct and received probation. Levi started dating a woman named Anna. They had a daughter together in June 2016. In 2017, Levi attempted to bring an end to his life and was sent to a mental health treatment facility. By 2018, Levi was working at a Holiday gas station in Grande. Levi's girlfriend Anna was working for a daycare in a YMCA next to an elementary school. Their daughter attended the daycare. People reported seeing Larry Scully across the street in a van and claimed he was watching children. Levi did not react well to this report. On April 5, 2018, he filed for a protective order against Larry Scully, claiming that Larry was stalking his daughter. He said that Larry had spoken to his daughter and to other children. Before Levi had a chance to go to court and make his case for the protective order, he found himself in some trouble. On April 12th, Levi became intoxicated. At about 4:30 p.m., he stopped at a church in Hovland and briefly spoke with the pastor. Out of nowhere, Levi said, quote, "I'm getting the blank out of here. I'm killing the blanking blank," unquote. He went to the parking lot and struck the pastor's Nissan Rogue SUV with a snow shovel. As the pastor called the police, Levi took an iron table and struck the windshield. He then removed the gas cap and attempted to activate a lighter next to the fuel filler neck. When the police arrived, Levi surrendered without incident and repeatedly screamed how he wanted to kill Larry Scully. Ultimately, Levi pleaded guilty to first-degree criminal damage, which is a felony. He was sentenced to 4 years of probation as well as mental health treatment. The felony charge was dismissed after Levi completed probation. On May 25, 2018, Levi and Larry appeared in court so a judge could decide if a protective order was warranted against Larry. Levi admitted that Larry had never spoken to his daughter or to other children, rather had only waved. So Levi changed his story. Larry told the judge that he never had any arguments with Levi and had never done anything to upset him. The judge denied Levi's request for a protective order against Larry. Even though Levi was not successful in getting the court to protect him from Larry, other people in town were successful. In 2019, Larry's brother Patrick filed for a restraining order to protect himself, his wife, and his brother John. Larry's siblings claim that Larry harmed all of them when they were younger. In addition, one sibling reported that Larry killed chickens and decapitated a cat. Larry did not deny the allegations. Rather, he told the judge that his siblings had no evidence to support their claims. The judge granted a 50-year restraining order. So apparently, he believed the siblings, at least to some degree. This would not be Larry's only setback. After a dispute at a gas station where Levi worked, Larry was charged with misdemeanor trespassing. In November 2020, Larry was found not competent to stand trial for that misdemeanor charge. Mental health clinicians suggested that he had severe mental disorders and posed a danger to others. Larry was committed for 6 months in a mental health facility in Baxter, Minnesota. After his release, he returned to his house in Grand Marais. By this time, Larry wasn't the only one in a worrisome condition as far as mental health. Levi Axtell lost a job he had at a retail store and had to make a living performing odd jobs like cleaning and yard work. He had married Anna in late 2018, but they divorced in less than 2 years. In 2022, they reconciled to some degree and lived together in a house that backed up to a wooded area adjacent to Larry's property. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On March 8, 2023, at about 4:45 p.m., Levi Axtell drove his Dodge Caravan to Larry's house and rammed Larry's vehicle in the driveway. He then exited the minivan, retrieved a spade-style shovel from Larry's deck, and entered the house. Levi murdered Larry, returned to the Dodge Caravan, drove to the sheriff's department about 4 blocks away, and told them he just killed Larry Scully. He explained how he had beaten Larry 15 to 20 times with a shovel and then used a moose antler to finish him off. The police immediately arrested Levi, mostly because of the murder part. Mental health professionals diagnosed Levi with schizoaffective disorder and severe alcohol use disorder. This led to him being declared incompetent to stand trial for intentional second-degree murder. At the time I'm making this video, Levi has still not been declared competent to stand trial. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. Larry Scully was an individual who annoyed the community where he lived. He was extremely talkative and would tell people stories about the Book of Revelation, the end times, and homeopathic remedies. He claimed to be a prophet. Sometimes he even wore a cloak and sandals and carried a wooden staff. His social media posts featured information about several conspiracy theories. For example, Larry believed the federal government controlled the weather, Timothy McVeigh was a patsy for the CIA, and the New World Order was threatening civilization. The house that Larry lived in was full of garbage. Hoarding behavior was evident at every turn. Piles of trash blocked access to most of the house. Eventually, Larry couldn't even get into his own bathroom. He was living in abject squalor. Even some of his enemies felt sorry for him toward the end. During his time in Grande, he had never been accused of a crime related to sex. Some people in the community thought that Larry was a good guy who had been unfairly demonized for an old offense. If he had not run for mayor, nobody would have ever known about his criminal history. Larry was a practicing Catholic who attended anticipatory Mass every Saturday evening. He regularly visited people who were ill and brought them food. Item number 2. After Larry's murder, many residents viewed Levi as a courageous champion. He was the man who killed the monster. Levi agreed with these people. He viewed himself as a hero. Considering that Levi was frequently intoxicated and a dangerous individual, much of the support he had was not based on how great he was, rather how terrible Larry was. The idea of having an elderly resident beat to death with a moose antler brought joy and peace to the community. One resident of the community said they didn't even see Larry as a human. Item number 3. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Larry Scully was a criminal offender who later developed severe mental health symptoms. He was erratic, obsessive, paranoid, psychotic, and did not have any insight. During his time in Grande, he was mostly a danger to himself as opposed to a danger to others. Levi Axtell was a troubled individual who could become violent at a moment's notice. He was psychotic, addicted to substances, impulsive, irresponsible, volatile, and paranoid. Levi became fixated on Larry after hearing the report that Larry waved at children. The thought of Larry harming someone fed into and amplified Levi's delusions. When he talked to some people in the community, they inadvertently encouraged him to be violent by promoting rumors about Larry. This behavior was reckless and uncalled for. On March 8, 2023, Levi became intoxicated, murdered Larry, and fulfilled what he believed were the wishes of the community. Just as he expected, he was pronounced a hero. Some community members gave Levi a pass because Larry was so despised. Levi did what many people wanted to do. Even with the support, Levi will probably be convicted of murder someday because that's exactly what he did. It's not legal to kill a man because he was once an offender. Levi killed someone who was not a current threat and lost his own life for absolutely nothing. Now moving to my final thoughts. The case of Larry Scully and Levi Axtell can be summarized in this way. A Minnesota man migrated from Minneapolis to Grande after committing a monstrous misdeed. After making money mostly through meager means, he mounted a campaign for mayor, which exposed his murky past and earned him the Menace moniker. A mentally malfunctioning, alcohol-muddled malcontent maliciously fixated on the man, marking him as a monster. Mired in a misguided mission, he mercilessly murdered the man with a moose antler and was momentarily mistaken for a hero by the misguided masses. Those are my thoughts in the case of Larry Scully and Levi Axtell. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.